Oregon fans, we have great news for you, and I know Griffin is excited to hear this too. But Justin Herbert has been seen working out, throwing passes to receivers. It looks like his recovery is going to be a bit speedier than we expected.
Yeah, it's definitely something to be excited about if you're a University of Oregon fan. Coaches have been praising him all week, saying that he's really been rehabbing his shoulder, and he looks like he's been making a really great recovery. Seeing him throw some of those passes, he looks like the Justin Herbert that we're all used to seeing earlier in the season. It'll be great to see him back on the field, hopefully within the next week or so. So Oregon, still has a chance of getting a pretty good bowl bid.
Oregon has been struggling offensively since the absence of Justin Herbert, but they do have to take on UCLA with Braxton Burmeister. Well, Luke Falk has taken over conversations about the Pac-12, a conference that's produced some of the best quarterbacks in the nation. But Rosen has been overlooked as the Bruins have struggled this season with a 3-3 record. But when it comes to total passing yards, Luke Falk has met his match as Rosen leads the Pac-12 with 2,354 total yards. Alongside that, he has the most yards per passing attempt at 8.4 compared to Luke Falk's at 7.5. But Rosen does miss the mark in a couple other categories with 64% completion, and he is second in interceptions with 8 this season, just behind Sam Darnold, 3 of those alone against Arizona State. Continuing with the offense, though, he does lead the 17th scoring offense. They average 39.5 points per game for 17th overall.
A lot of the reasons why he has so many interceptions on the year is because he's being told, and their offense is really set up to throw the ball deep downfield. He's taking a lot of risks. They also get a lot of pass interference calls in their favor. But being risky like that and using all of his arm strength really has affected his accuracy quite a bit this season, something that you didn't see as much last season when they kept a lot of his passes a little shorter and used a lot of the short and intermediate game to build up his confidence for his final season, which is this year. The University of Oregon is hopefully looking to bounce back after another really rough week against Stanford. Hopefully we're able to use it as a learning experience. We're going to learn a lot about Coach Taggart and how he's able to bounce back and how he's able to motivate his teams after just a devastating blowout loss to Stanford last week. We are a very young team, and Burmeister is a true freshman quarterback with very few starts and just reps in general under his arsenal. Most people expected him to be redshirted at the very beginning of the season. He's getting more first-team reps. He got some of those players back from injury last week, having another week to really work with them, having another week to throw passes, having another week under this coaching staff as a true freshman. Hopefully he's able to excel and learn quickly. There's even rumors that a lot of the coaching staff has been spending the night at the athletic facilities in order to get him ready for this week against UCLA. There are a decent amount of Oregon fans, sadly, who have been calling for Taggart's job so far this week after that huge loss to Stanford, saying that he's just not quite cut out for this big Power 5 conference team and the budget that he currently has. I personally disagree, but that's just me. The Ducks also look to really extend their offense. Burmeister's really been limited as far as his passing and play calling's gone. He hasn't passed the ball very often, mostly because he seems to be fairly inconsistent with his accuracy if they want any sort of success in this game and in future games. And Oregon, as always, as they have for the last 20 years, has one of the best rushing attacks still in all of college football. Royce Freeman and Kene Benoit combined for 1,200 yards and 18 touchdowns on the season, both of which are pretty close to the top in all of college football. They have 26 rushing touchdowns on the year as well, and there's a possibility that they'll be getting 4 more players back. One of them is A.J. Hotchkiss, who is a starting middle linebacker, which could really help against this UCLA team.
One thing about Freeman is he is a beast, but unfortunately he can't carry the team himself, and that's just kind of why they've definitely been blown out these last 2 weeks. It also comes down to the quarterback, though. Ever since Burmeister took over, the Ducks have just been struggling to get things going on the offense. Let's go ahead and take a look at the stats under Justin Herbert compared to Braxton Burmeister and Taylor Alley. So prior to Cal, the Ducks offense averaged 313 passing yards per game, and since Burmeister started 2 weeks ago, they haven't even gotten 200 total passing yards. Herbert has thrown for 9 touchdowns with only 2 interceptions. while Burmeister and Alley have gathered 1 touchdown pass combined with a total of 5 picks. Even the rushing game has struggled with Herbert's absence, who served as a top 5 rusher for the Ducks. Under Herbert, they averaged 244 rushing yards per game, and without him, they averaged 204, which isn't too much of a difference, but when your passing offense takes that much of a toll, it becomes quite a huge difference.
UCLA definitely is going to be missing their starting tight end, Caleb Wilson. He's going to be out for the rest of the season. He's one of the top tight ends in the entire country. He had 15 catches for 208 yards against Texas A&M. One of them was that huge 4th down play that kept their game-winning touchdown drive alive. They have a horrible rush defense. 3 weeks ago against Stanford, they allowed 405 rushing yards, and they allowed 382 rushing yards in their opener against Texas A&M. That's something that Oregon is definitely going to take advantage of this week. It's something that every team has so far this year has been able to take advantage of, and it'll be really tough for them to be able to stop a huge physical back like Freeman, and then on the back end with Charles Nelson on fly sweeps, trying to stop the speed on the outside. They also give up just over 40 points per game. The past couple weeks, Oregon only has a combined 17 points. So hopefully Oregon's able to, pick it up a little bit and take advantage of this really weak UCLA defense. Their offensive line has also been really, really weak this year. They've given up 14 sacks, losing just over 100 yards in the process. Oregon so far in the year has 24 sacks, which is in the top 5 in the entire country. Oregon's front 7 and their D-line specifically is really going to have to pressure Rosen, and he's going to have to get him out of their comfort zone. UCLA doesn't have the strongest rushing attack, so if they're able to force Rosen out of the pocket and force him into making those tough throws and not give him a lot of time.
The Ducks will definitely be looking to getting into that backfield and creating tackles for loss. This is why I chose a wide receiver for the UCLA key player of the game. That man's name is Darren Andrews. He's quick on his feet, running the 40 in 4.49 seconds. And Andrews leads the Bruin with 509 receiving yards, accompanied by 7 touchdowns.
If you want to talk about quick on your feet, then you've got to mention Charles Nelson. He runs a 4.37 40, which is one of the top in all of college football. He's also on the national championship 4x100 meter relay. Look at him to really be able to stretch this UCLA defense and make it so they can't just load the box with 7 and 8 guys every time, and make sure they have to keep a safety back in order to really respect him as a deep threat.
Who do you like in this game, Griffin?
As the last 2 weeks go, my gut just says Oregon. I am definitely biased. But I think Oregon will actually be able to take quite a bit of advantage, especially the last 2 weeks. They've played 2 of the best rushing defenses in all of college football against this just lackluster rush defense and defense in general of UCLA. Oregon should be able to take advantage and hopefully actually pull out a win away at UCLA.
Well, both these teams do have a couple games they'd like to just erase from the record books this year. But I'm going to go with UCLA and be a bit different than you here. I think UCLA just has a better quarterback. Braxton Burmeister has not been getting the job done, and I think Oregon is going to continue offensively, especially in the passing area. They do have Royce Freeman, which is good for them, but will they be able to get things going?
And that's all for this week. Tune in next week and watch the rest of our episodes. I'm Griffin Parkrose.
And I'm Janae Muchmore. Don't forget to follow us on social media at redtoend.com or like us on Facebook. You'll see a couple of our episodes for this week along the right-hand side of your screen. Have a great night.